Hey, this is Niels on Dynasty. Please like, share, and subscribe. Buy some silver, some platinum. Don't listen to me. Everything I say is to be taken as bull crap. This is for fun, not for health or profit. Gotta get rid of all that bull crap out of the way first. Like, share, and subscribe. Buy some silver, some platinum, and some crystallized osmium. Be kind, helpful, and grateful. And watch what happens when you put Chinese fishermen in charge of big military boats when they don't know what the hell they're doing. It is so funny. Oh my God, is this hilarious? And this is what you call the Chinese Navy's strategic ability at full play. This is hilarious. It's so great. They're trying to box me in. Didn't work too well for the Chinese because they've got fishermen running warboats and they don't know anything about how to steer those things. They just look at a target and get focused in and run into their own ships because they don't see the future. It's beautiful. It shows the sophistication level of the CCP Navy's captains. See how that boat's chasing him. He's going at full speed. He's like, oh, we can get up beside him. We can get up beside him. He's turning. Let's chase him. Of course, what you don't see is behind the camera on the left is another warship coming into the way. And this one Chinese boat thinks that Filipino boat's going to try and cut in beside it. When at the last minute, it says, nah, I'm going to turn. But you ram your own boat because you're an idiot. You just made the turn. Just misses the front of the boat coming into the left of the screen. Guy sticks out the pad to stop the collision. Oh! Looks like that war vessel just got taken out. Now China's -2 warships. And you should see the hole on the other side. It's right in front of the 164. What's that, Mo? It's a huge hole. You're going to see it as they cross back by. This is cool. Right there. You can see that big old hole right there. The Chinese Coast Guard boat just freaking rammed it. And that Chinese Coast Guard boat's right there. Still has its water cannon going. Don't know what the hell they're doing. They don't even know to turn the water cannon off. They got to go into it's not sink mode instead of it's not the stupid mode. It's funny. It's hilarious. Look at that. Snub nose. He looks like a pug. Water rushing into the ship from through the front. Look at that. It's making a wake from the front of the boat when it's supposed to be cutting through the water. It's beautiful. What's up, Attila? Gotta love watching Chinese military do military maneuvers and fail miserably. Oh, is that worth seeing again, guys? Oh my goodness gracious me. Chinese mess around with the Filipinos too much in their own waters. Deserve what they get. They should drop a Fowler line right now and screw that ship up even more. That captain of that big old multi-million-dollar boat saying, yeah, I got to commit suicide now because Xi Jinping's going to kill me anyhow. That's so funny. What do you guys think about that? Chinese running into their own boats. $1 million boats, multi-million-dollar boats. Hell, they just had North Koreans just had one sink as they tried to launch it. Funny stuff. Let's see. Here we go. This is interesting. This will tell you a little bit. Nah, let's not go there. Oh, yes. Let's go here. First off, we're going to jump back a little bit. This is a Sean Ryan show. Matt Galick, NASA's mining asteroids, Site 16, worth $10 quadrillion. Listen to this guy. I told you guys about this a couple years ago, that this was going to be a big thing. Had you invested in it, you'd be making money right now. Still a lot of time, though.
And what I realized is I think I could build a satellite a lot cheaper than what NASA does. But is it worth it building it cheaper? And what I mean by that is you still got to launch the thing. It's not like I can throw a satellite into space. I still got to be able to launch the satellite. And so one of the biggest reasons Astroforge is allowed to exist is actually because of that same organization, NASA. NASA does this thing called the CLPS missions. These are the lunar landers you've probably seen. So I don't know if you watched the Intuitive Machine landers or the Firefly landers go land on the moon. And we hitch rides on those rockets for a fraction of the cost, right? We no longer have to buy an entire dedicated launch to go out to the cosmos. And so for the first time, you can build a low-cost spacecraft, but also have low-cost launch. Those two things have never aligned before to go do it. And so now I can go access the universe at orders of magnitude cheaper than anybody's been able to in history.
Thus, the economic benefit that people are overlooking. We will continue with this because this guy's a smart mofo.
And then the question became, what do you do? Like, I can't go raise money from a venture capital. Say like, hey, I'm going to go YOLO something to the universe and like explore it. They're like, cool. There's no, what is that supposed to mean? And so, you know, what I first did was I sat down and I wrote this whole list of like, if I can now see this inflection point where I could access deep space for much cheaper, right? Under $10 million, including the launch. What could I do? And I had all these stupid ass ideas. You know, one of my ideas, Sean, was actually I say this one all the time because it was so dumb, but I followed it up for about a week, was like, could I sell ads? Like we all see these famous pictures of Jupiter and Saturn, and you've probably seen the Voyager mission or Cassini, and you don't know what mission they're from, but you see these gorgeous images. What if it was like stamped with Coca-Cola at the bottom, right? Like, could we sell it? And I called a couple places. I called Red Bull, and Red Bull was like, no, we're not interested. I'm like, okay, this is dumb. But there was two companies before that I had really respected and read a lot about, and they were called Planetary Resources and Deep Space Industries, that attempted to go mine asteroids before. Now, they had two different cases at the time. They wanted to mine them originally for water to refuel rockets. And then later on, they started to look at the platinum group metals because of the high concentrations on these asteroids. So I said,
did he just say the platinum group metals that Neil's been talking about in asteroids? I think he did.
Hold on, maybe I should be looking at these old business models and seeing if I have a lower entry point, maybe they make a lot of sense.
Hold on a second here. Did he just say he's looking at old business models to see if he's got a cheaper entry point than when they tried it? That's known as a business model that you can use by other people's failures in the past by looking at their business model, seeing how much it cost, and seeing if you can't get a lower entry point. Key number one for the space mining industry. There's more coming.
Again. And that's what we did. That's how we landed on the idea of mining asteroids.
Interesting.
And you did ask a question though, like, why not just do it on Earth? Right? Like, well, why go to space and do it? And you'll also hear this argument that will say something like, well, we have enough material on Earth to mine kind of forever. Why even bother? There's this thing called cost, and it's really important. And
yes,
what we call the all-in sustaining cost of mining, especially on the platinum group metals, is extremely high. And the reason is the good ore grades of platinum group metals are really deep in the ground. You know, when you go to South Africa, where some of the best mines.
And how many times have I told you about South Africa? They're at 2,200 meters deep. That is why I like clean air metals, because it's a surface vein that runs parallel with the surface pretty much, no deeper than about 650 meters for the whole vein, high grade extraction ore. It's a beautiful thing. It's not going to be a long term, but it'll last several years. And that's why I like clean air metals, because everything he's saying about platinum is true, but he didn't know about clean air metals find.
Mines are about 80% of our PGMs come from South Africa. Those mines are 1,500 to 2,000 meters deep.
See, he's wrong on that too.
Easy, wow. Right? They are extremely deep in the ground, which means they're super hot. They're really dangerous. And we're kind of at the threshold of where we can mine. The mining industry as a whole has been making a big push to say, can we mine below 2,500 meters?
No, we can't.
And the question isn't actually, can we mine below 2,500 meters? Like, the answer to that is yes. Can we economically mine below 2,500 meters? The answer to that right now is a hard
no.
And so that's the problem that actually exists with us as humans, is we're not able to access a lot of the resources we have here on the planet because of this thing called physics. We are now able to go, hopefully, mine asteroids for a fraction of the cost it takes on Earth. And we think of today, even at the prices we're seeing today on both launch and building the spacecraft, we're looking at margins upwards of 80%, where a margin on Earth today for platinum on the high end is about 15%.
Wow. No shit. How do you know what's on an asteroid? How would you know which one to target? what's on it, or is it just process of elimination?
No, so we study them. They hit the Earth all the time, and we just rename them as meteorites.
Mm-hmm.
So in our office, we have about 300 different meteorites that are just laying around. It's kind of comical, right? It's like the science center going on there to some extent. And we study the shit out of them, right? We put them under what's called XRF or X-ray fluorescence and get samples from them. We have an electron microscope with another technology allows us to understand composition. We use all the time on them. And we really try to break down their structures and see what's on them. Now, when we talk about asteroids, be very clear. I'm not talking about all asteroids. I'm only talking about a small percentage of what we think is out there, which is about 5% that we believe to be these special type of asteroids called metal asteroids. So the real job of Astroforge is not, do they exist? We know they exist because they hit the planet all the time. We have a good example or concentration of where we think they are in the universe. In fact, NASA's sending a mission to one right now called the Psyche mission. It's a fucking awesome mission.
Wait, what is
It certainly is an awesome mission. I've told you guys about it. It launched November 2019. Supposed to land in that area it's supposed to go at sometime in 2026. A multi-millionaire right now who's getting into space mining is going to tell you the exact same thing I've told you in the past.
that?
Psyche 16 is a main belt, large, believed to be M-type asteroid. And NASA, about a year and a half ago, launched a mission to Psyche 16 called the Psyche mission. It's on its way right now. I believe it gets there in about a year and a half from now. And we'll get our first images and spectral data from a direct orbiting metal asteroid. So it'd be really cool for the first time to actually see one up close. We've never been to one of these up close, right? We've only been to what are called, I'm going to use, the types get a little complicated here. We've only been to essentially rubble piles, a bunch of rocks, or kind of small little planets that we find in space. That's all we've really seen as asteroids or comets. This will be the first one to go to a metal asteroid.
No kidding.
Yep.
By the way, what's really cool to think about a metal asteroid, if you think about it, we think metal asteroids are the core of a dead planet. So it's the same as the core of Earth. It's the same makeup. And that's why they're really high concentrations of dense material, because when you watch a planet form, all the dense material sinks to the bottom. So what we're essentially harvesting is a planet that for some reason blew up hundreds of millions of years ago. And I'm going out to like mine the core of that planet.
And it's high density platinum, more than 1 ounce per 10 tons, which is what the average is here on our planet. You get about 100 times more platinum per tonnage in a metal asteroid than you do here on Earth. The profitability, every time platinum goes up, the profitability margin for these space mining operations is more feasible, because if this guy's already started it at the price of platinum, he started it at when it was under 1,000. If platinum gets up to $4,000, $5,000, $6,000, there's going to be about 20 mining companies out there mining asteroids. Just
That's
money.
what we're doing.
It's all about money.
Wow.
They want $15K to fix the roof. Babe, we just paid off the car. We can't afford this right now.
The good news is
What does feeling safe at home really mean to you? For a long time, I thought it was enough to have good locks and maybe an alarm that would make a lot of noise if someone actually broke in. But I've realized...
For real. You're talking about satellites going out, taking pictures of planets. I mean, I don't know how far these things have gone. I mean, the James Webb, I mean, that's... Where did that go?
James Webb went to one of the Lagrange points. So
Lagrange
James Webb
point number
went to
3.
the stable orbit on the other side of the moon.
Yep.
So James Webb is pretty far away. I actually don't know the distance, but I would assume the moon's about 240 million.
I actually showed you guys a graph of this in my live stream from last night that I had to delete because YouTube jumped my ass and said, you're allowed to show things that are on YouTube, but we're allowed to give you problems for showing things that show on YouTube. So I just deleted it to avoid the problems. And that's unfortunate because it was very informative, but YouTube didn't like it. So I had to delete it, but it showed the Lagrange points. Damn YouTube.
Miles away. Sorry, 240,000 miles away. So Webb is probably somewhere in the range of 500,000 miles away, where it's stationed right now. And that was so it doesn't get any reflection from the Earth, right? That's why they wanted it out there, so it could be super cool than not getting heat from the Earth to get better images.
I mean, so my question is, I mean, you see all these, I watch this stuff all the, you were talking about, you watch wartime Netflix specials.
Yep.
I watch space stuff all the time. And I always wonder how these, I mean, you see these like miraculous images from Uranus and way out there, right? And how do these communicate? How are they getting the imagery back to the Earth?
If you really want to dive deep, Sean, you can go read my blog post on this, which is like 10,000 words of the details here. But
I'd
How do
rather
they
just ask you in
communicate?
person.
How do they communicate on Earth is so it's a lot of ways to think about this. At the end of the day, they're really far away. So they're losing a lot of radiated power from the spacecraft over that great distance. So how do we communicate? Really twofold. Big ass dishes on the ground. So if you've ever seen like the early early for me James Bond movies with Pierce Brosnan, right? Where he's like in Russia and they're in front of like a big dish. Those are the fucking dishes we used to listen to the spacecraft. The one we used on our last mission was 32 meters across. So put that in your head. There's 100 foot, freedom units dish that we're pointing in space, and we have to be accurate to be within 0.1 degree. So it's got a little tiny beam that we're trying to point out there, and that's just to get enough gain to pick up the signal from the satellite. On the satellite side, we use really, really powerful amplifiers. So spacecraft like Voyager, Psyche.
Anyhow, we don't need to know about that crap. I just wanted to inform you guys about space mining. And also, you should invest in it. It's not financial advice. It's just smart. I mean, you heard the guy on Sean Ryan that it's exponentially cheaper to mine platinum from an asteroid. And it's even getting cheaper because of the newness of the technology than it is to dig down a mile into the earth and get it. So it's just commonsensical economics, and it will happen. Sorry if you don't like it. This, I don't know what the hell this is. Mo just sent it to me, so hopefully it's good.
But there, the situation for Chinese people has become a nightmare. Recently, the security situation in Mali has drastically worsened, with armed groups linked to Al-Qaeda, such as the Support Group for Islam and Muslims, JNIM, repeatedly attacking Chinese-owned mining areas and factories. These groups engage in looting and have started targeting Chinese nationals for kidnappings and extortions.
And everyone says the Africans love Chinese. Interesting.
They even openly shout, "Chinese people, get out of Mali." Chinese-owned gold mines, cement plants,
Oh, by the way, that was a lie she just told. The terrorists already got chased out of Mali. I did a report on that about a year ago where they did some strikes on them and dismantled them and pushed them north. So it's not the terrorist, it's the Mali citizens kicking the Chinese out.
mining sites and sugar factories have been attacked multiple times. Dozens of Chinese citizens have been kidnapped, and several have lost their lives. Equipment has been looted or destroyed. On August 1st, JNIM militants attacked a Mali army outpost near Dugabugu, claiming to have taken control, and also destroyed the local police station. They simultaneously attacked the Insukala sugar factory, kidnapping 6 Chinese workers. The attackers yelled, "Catch the Chinese," and then set fire to the factory. JNIM later claimed responsibility for the attack and released photos of the hostages, demanding a ransom of 100 million RMB. They threatened to kill the hostages if the ransom was not paid. The group has explicitly targeted military outposts and nearby economic infrastructure. The Insukala sugar factory is one of the few industrial projects in China-Mali cooperation and is Chinese invested. Late on August 2nd, the Chinese embassy in Mali issued one of the sternest evacuation orders in recent years, stating, "All Chinese enterprises must cease operations immediately and evacuate to the capital, Bamako. Those who refuse will face consequences." Earlier, on July 23rd, JNIM militants attacked a Chinese-owned gold mining operation in the Buguni region, setting fire to equipment and kidnapping 5 Chinese workers. The attackers seemed to know the layout of the mine very well, acting swiftly and leaving without a trace. An anonymous security supervisor shared on X that Mali's security department was completely unprepared. We relied entirely on the local Chinese community and international security companies' networks for information. Mr. Xu, who works at a mining company in the area, told the Beijing News that the militants attacked around 3 or 4 in the morning, while most workers were asleep and had no chance to fight back. 2 of his colleagues.
So basically, if it is the actual terrorist group, ISIS and whatnot, or a faction of them, which I don't believe it is, basically they're declaring war on China instead of America, which is highly unusual. Typically, they hate us colonialists and they don't go after the Chinese because of the history of the supposed neo-colonialists in Africa. So it's interesting that they're trying to say it's the terrorist when the only people that would know significant details of gold mining operations were people that work there, and that would be Mali citizens, not terrorists from out of country that used to run the northern part of Mali that got kicked out. These sound like locals that are getting up a rebellion and kicking out the Chinese. And if you see a report that I did earlier, there's a river in Zambia. It goes through 3 countries that was clear that turned disgustingly brown because of the Chinese mining activities in that area. And 3 countries got together and told the Chinese to get the hell out of their country. So it's an ongoing theme that no one wants to really talk about, except for me, on how Africa hates the Chinese and are kicking them out. That's my Russian blue, by the way, making that meow.
Colleagues were kidnapped and are still missing. The kidnappers have demanded a ransom of $3 million per person, and Mr. Xu expressed his helplessness, saying, "Who can come up with that much money?"
More than 7%. I also did a report on this, Mo. That was 7%, but see, the report I did, Quiet Gandalf, said that 50% of Mali's gold was being mined through Parisianal mining, which is a surface style, low impact into the ground mining done by individuals and households and not regulated. And that's where all the terrorists were getting a lot of the gold out of Mali, and also Niger and Burkina Faso in the northern regions. Well, not Niger, but Burkina Faso and Mali. But that's why they did a military action in 3 countries and kicked all of them out. And then they closed down all of the mining. Barrick Gold got kicked out of Burkina Faso because of it. And a couple other big gold mines got kicked out because those countries were taking total control of all of their resources in the entirety of their boundaries. And that included shutting down all the regional minings. And that's mostly what the Chinese were doing, was the smaller regional mining. But since they did that and they reopened it up all under government regulation, I believe that number of 7% has increased.
On August 4th, the Chinese embassy in Mali confirmed that it had a record of all the kidnapped Chinese citizens, but did not provide any details on rescue operations. Earlier, on July 25th, JNIM militants launched an attack on a military camp in the eastern town of Futori, Burkina Faso, quickly overpowering the camp and stealing weapons, ammunition, and military equipment. On July 1st, a Chinese Malian joint venture cement factory in the Kayes region of Mali was attacked by JNIM militants. 1 Chinese citizen and 3 Indian engineers were kidnapped. The construction site was set on fire, and machinery was destroyed. India media reported that the daughter of an Indian engineer who was kidnapped tearfully said, "My father had worked in the Middle East and Africa for many years. This was his first assignment in West Africa. But after his last phone call on July 29th, we've lost contact with him." Meanwhile, the Chinese embassy has done nothing but issue a hollow statement without any substantial rescue plans. The hostages are still missing. On June 12th, a Chinese-owned mining site in the Niarela region of Mali was attacked, causing significant material losses. On May 24th, another Chinese construction site in the Kayes region was attacked by armed militants. In Niarela, militants kidnapped 2 Chinese citizens on May 12th and set fire to several construction vehicles. The Chinese embassy had issued a warning on July 23rd, stating that the security situation in Mali was dire, with terrorist attacks and armed conflict spreading. Kidnappings, shootings, and robberies have become frequent, and mining personnel and enterprises have become prime targets. The embassy urged all Chinese gold mining companies and personnel in Mali to report their status immediately, and called on illegal gold miners to cease operations and evacuate.
Hold on, what
Viagra
was
and
that?
Dallas, they increased blood.
China called for the illegal Chinese miners to shut down. They admitted
flow
that
down there.
Why
That's
this
why you can
commercial? I
physically
gotta hear
perform,
that
but
again.
they do.
The Chinese embassy and gold mining companies and personnel in Mali to report their status immediately, and called on illegal gold miners to cease.
Call on illegal gold miners to cease operations. So the Chinese government knows that they're illegal gold miners, Chinese gold miners, in Mali and Burkina Faso, so much so that they are calling on them to stop. Wow, what an admission. And I bet that just bypassed everyone's ears. The Chinese Communist Party just admitted that they sent in people to do illegal mining because obviously they have control of them. They know where they're at, how many there are, because they just made the statement.
Frequent, and mining personnel and enterprises have become prime targets. The embassy urged all Chinese gold mining companies and personnel in Mali to report their status immediately, and called on illegal gold miners to cease operations and
called on illegal gold miners to cease operation. Why would they call on illegal gold miners to cease operations if they didn't know about the illegal gold miners and, quite frankly, seeing how they're China, supporting the illegal gold miners, stealing, as is China's way, stealing gold?
Evacuate. The Chinese embassy in Mali issued a stern emergency evacuation order, instructing all Chinese enterprises to halt their operations and evacuate their personnel to the capital.
I brought attention to this a long time ago, Knackers. About 500 metric tons over a 10-year time period was taken out of Mali and Burkina Faso area that went unreported. I did a show. It showed that it went straight to Dubai and the AEU, and then it went to Switzerland. Then it came to America. And I couldn't find out anything more after that.
Bamako by September 30th. This sudden move has shattered the dreams of Chinese businesses, which invested $1.2 billion in Mali, with nearly 100 companies and the annual gold output of 36 tons now at risk. After receiving the evacuation order, many Chinese mining companies took drastic measures to destroy the equipment and to prevent it from falling into the hands of rebel groups.
Have you ever seen a company destroy its own equipment? Chinese gold mining companies in Mali did just that. They carried out a self-destruction operation worth thousands of millions.
Okay, you got to think, why would a country destroy? If you look at America, when we left Afghanistan, we left billions of dollars of equipment undestroyed. Now the Chinese are leaving hundreds of millions of dollars of equipment destroyed over gold mining stuff. What does that psychological tell you guys about the differences? It's just something to think about.
Earlier, the northern mining area of Mali was robbed by armed groups, causing significant losses. These militants even had the audacity to turn Chinese excavators into armed vehicles and used server data to plan attacks. After receiving an emergency notification from the Chinese embassy in Mali, Chinese companies acted overnight. 20 excavators were sunk into the river, hard drives were destroyed, chips were ruined, and photos of the mining sites on employees' phones were deleted. The estimated loss from this
One reason why I think they would do that is because if they left that information, someone could come in, check the hard drives, and find out exactly how much gold they actually extracted over what they reported. Thus, the reason why they called all the illegal gold miners that are Chinese to move out and cease operations. That makes more sense.
self-destruction operation exceeded 100 million yuan, but the Chinese company bosses believe it was worth it because in Mali, safety is the most important thing. If the equipment and data had fallen into the hands of armed groups, the consequences would have been unimaginable.
Yeah.
The evacuation process has been full of risks.
I can imagine that they would have discovered China's theft, and it's exactly the amount of gold that was stolen and went unreported, so they wouldn't have to pay the 15% quote-unquote tariff to pull the gold out of Mali's ground and take it. So to get around that, they just took it and then burned the evidence.
With land routes passing through 400 kilometers of territories controlled by terrorist groups, the airports can only evacuate 500 people daily, far from enough to meet the demand. As of now, only 122 Chinese nationals have made it to the capital. Ironically, in 2024, China has sent 36 anti-ambush armored vehicles to the Malian military. Officers were seen proudly accepting these vehicles on camera. However, due to a lack of fuel and maintenance training, nearly 60% of these vehicles are now scrap metal. Before China's weapons had even been put to use, the terrorists had already retaliated, demanding that Chinese nationals leave Mali.
你来非洲是为了赚钱，但有人是为了把你来赚钱。
The kidnappings in Mali have caused panic among Chinese citizens.
Another reason why I say they're not terrorists is, again, terrorists, when they go after America, they don't say America only. Sometimes they do, but they say the colonials, the West. They refer to it as the West. They don't specifically say Americans. This group specifically said for all the Chinese to leave. They didn't ask for the French to leave, which they're kicking out right now. They didn't ask them. They didn't ask the Germans to leave. They didn't ask the Americans to leave. Specifically, a terrorist organization in that country told the Chinese to leave. Makes me wonder if it's truly a terrorist organization or a government-backed organization.
Working and investing there. One local blogger posted a video warning other business owners, telling them to be aware that they might become a source of income for others. The video described how on August 3rd, 2025, an extremist group released photos of 6 Chinese hostages who were abducted in the region of Serbala. Just 2 days before, another 4 Chinese workers had been kidnapped by the same group. Mali has seen a rise in kidnappings and attacks, with 342 incidents
I
recorded
think
in
they
the
could have
first
fit
7
5
months of
more.
the year, a 27% increase from the previous year. The blogger warned that a country's downfall doesn't come from poverty, but from the collapse of order.
Chinese business owners in Africa have also called for their government to ensure the safety of Chinese enterprises in the region.
还是撤了哈，这个不撤就等死。
We have to evacuate, or we'll be waiting to die. The situation in Mali is out of control, and Chinese companies have been specifically told to leave immediately.
When in the history of the world has a terrorist group specifically asked only one group to leave their nation when more than just that one group was in that nation doing that type of work? It just doesn't add up.
On August 2nd, the Chinese embassy in Mali issued an emergency notice, and this was no ordinary evacuation suggestion. It was a direct order. All Chinese companies must stop work immediately, and all personnel must evacuate right away. Not a single person can stay.
Since the 2012 coup, the security situation in Mali has steadily deteriorated, especially after French troops withdrew. Terrorist groups have expanded their influence, and now Chinese enterprises.
See, now that is a colonial Western facade she just threw on there, even though I'm a colonial Westerner kind of guy, I guess. It's actually very secure there. They have combined, Mali has combined with Burkina Faso and Niger militarily to share military and security resources to guarantee that. So their individual countries have actually tripled in size due to the partnership and the cooperation of the 3 countries working together on safety concerns. So this lady's lying.
Enterprises and their employees are primary targets. The social media posts even openly demand that Chinese people get out of Mali. Why are terrorists targeting Chinese companies in Mali? Simply put, it's all about the money. An anonymous project manager shared that recently there have been people on motorcycles constantly circling around construction sites. Local workers privately told him these individuals were scouting for targets, looking to steal equipment and kidnap people for ransom. After receiving the evacuation notice from the Chinese embassy, Chinese companies sprang into action. Some destroyed important documents. Others removed the chips from expensive equipment to take with them. Some even went as far as sinking excavators worth millions.
Well, no. I doubt you're going to see the gold price affected by this whatsoever, because if there's a geopolitical push on suppressing gold out of that region of the world, or pushing for to get it out, or whatever they're doing, I doubt it's going to affect the price up or down. Quite frankly, it should affect the price in an upward manner, because all of the theft of the gold that's not being reported on the COMEX has just ended, which means they'll produce more gold. Actually, excuse me, they're not going to produce more gold. They'll be able to produce the same amount of gold, but 100% of it will be counted and put on the COMEX, which means there's going to be a significant increase in gold production, which should lower the price of gold. But I digress.
Millions of dollars into rivers, preferring to destroy them rather than leave them for terrorists to convert into armored vehicles. Now, most of the personnel have been evacuated through neighboring countries, but the process has been harrowing. Some online commentators sarcastically remarked, "No flag raised, no passport shown," calling for the wolf warrior Wu Jing to come rescue our people.
这次事件暴露出了一个大的问题。
This incident has exposed a major issue. How can Chinese companies protect themselves abroad?
Well, see, the problem with that is right now this gentleman's trying to sell you that there is a thing called a Chinese company, but it is not a Chinese company. It is part of the Chinese Communist Party. They don't have private ownership. Every Chinese company is the CCP government by law. That gentleman there does not own a company. He is a paperwork owner of a Communist Party company so it can operate in other countries and also gain intelligence and do insurrection type stuff. That is why we're kicking China and purging China and Chinese companies out of the stock market and out of our country, because the last administration allowed a lot of them in, along with several administrations long before that. And we're doing a purge right now. That's why there's this one big Chinese guy who's one of the big stockmen. He's getting pushed out. I saw a report on it like 2 days ago. I was like, yep, we're purging the CCP, or excuse me, Chinese companies that are the CCP government out of our system. The same thing's happening in Mali. They see it. That is an arm of the Chinese Communist Party's military. Is gold extraction. It's part of the Chinese army. It's just called a company so that we will believe that it's not part of the Chinese government. The reality is every company from China is owned by the Chinese government, not by individuals. It is illegal to have private property over there.
Western countries often send mercenaries, while China mainly relies on local police and security. But against fully armed terrorists, this clearly isn't enough. Experts argue that while China pushes its Belt and Road Initiative, it needs to seriously think about protecting its people and assets overseas. The chaos in Mali has affected more than just the local gold industry. Mali contributes 7% of the world's gold, and if Chinese-led projects stop, international gold prices will rise immediately. Worse yet, neighboring countries are beginning to show anti-foreign sentiment, and these ripple effects may impact the investment climate in the entire region.
Sorry, Mo, this guy's late. I've been doing reports on Sahel region of Africa for about 2 years, and how they pushed out and left ECOWAS, and how Ivory Coast and Ghana and a few other countries are now working with the Sahel nations to push out France and the colonials. It's been going on for years.
How can the world's second largest military power let things come to this? Where's our army? Where's our wolf warrior? Where's our...
And for one thing, if China steps 1 foot with their military inside Africa, that will be a world war.
Aircraft carrier? Mali is rich in mineral resources, including gold, lithium, and iron ore. China has been investing in these sectors for a long time, especially in gold and lithium mining, road infrastructure, and agriculture.
They've been investing in it for a long time. Can you look at these people and tell that they have got all the safety and health regulations being followed to keep them alive and safe and well paid? They're being run by Chinese Communist Party companies. You can see the devastating effects of working for Chinese Communist Party companies.
Sectors for a long time, especially in gold and lithium mining, road infrastructure, and agriculture. After Mali officially joined China's Belt and Road Initiative in July 2019, Chinese investments expanded, and Mali became seen as the golden frontier for the initiative. Mali holds about 900 tons of gold reserves and is the third largest gold producer in Africa, behind South Africa and Ghana. In 2021, Mali produced 63 tons of gold, accounting for around 7% of global output. By 2024, gold mining contributed 25% to the country's fiscal revenue, and over 80% of its export value came from gold, making it a vital sector for the economy. As a result, gold mining became a primary area for Chinese investments, attracting numerous state-owned enterprises and small to medium-sized private companies. Chinese companies own dozens of small and medium-sized gold mining projects in central and southern Mali, such as Nkase, Nioro, and Bougouni. These projects are worth about $1.2 billion, with an annual gold output of approximately 36 tons, accounting for more than half of Mali's total gold production.
Okay, and another thing I got to say here that this person doesn't say, Burkina Faso has started building a gold refinery, because you can have all the gold in the world, and it doesn't matter if you have to ship it to another country to have it refined. You're going to be paying a good percentage to that country or that company that's outside your country. So Ibrahim Traoré has already started building a smelting plant so that the Sahel region can melt down their own gold, and even more so take away the middleman from the gold production to sales. So that's all changing too.
These operations mainly involve open pit mining, with annual revenues ranging from millions to hundreds of millions of dollars. However, in the midst of Mali's political instability, the Chinese Communist Party's dreams of a prosperous Belt and Road has turned into a joke. Chinese companies are not only mired in security and policy
Now you
problems,
see why
but
I
are
laugh
also
when
viewed
someone
as
says One
plunderers by
Belt Road.
locals, becoming prime targets for kidnapping and robbery. To make things worse, on June 3, 2025, Mali's military government announced a suspension of all small-scale gold mining activities until September 30th. This shattered the golden dreams of many Chinese business owners. The new mining law, passed in 2023, already reduced profits for Chinese companies by requiring the government to hold 35% of shares and raising royalty fees from 6% to 9%. Now, with both security and policy pressures, all mining projects are forced to halt production. So, under the Chinese government's China-Mali cooperation banner, what's hidden are the massive financial losses and the lives of Chinese people hanging in the balance. Apart from gold mining, lithium is also a major investment focus for Chinese companies. For example, China's largest lithium producer, Ganfeng Lithium, invested over $342 million to acquire all shares of Mali Lithium through its subsidiary, Ganfeng International, establishing the Goulamina Lithium Project. This project is touted as Africa's largest lithium mine, second only to Australia's Pilgangoora project.
So if China loses Mali, which they already have, they're going to lose lithium production control. Because the reason why people say, oh, China mines all the lithium in the world. No, they don't. They get it from other countries, and they pay and cheat and steal and lie and get kicked out of that country, and then that resource is still in that country. So China doesn't own that resource. They don't own it. Australia and Mali own the lithium. Just make sure China doesn't get a hold of Australia. Okay, guys? You guys over there, my Aussie brothers, make sure they don't get a hold of you. Follow Mali. Kick them the fuck out.
Goulamina, located in Bugoni, covers 100 square kilometers and has 211 million tons of ore, equivalent to 7.1 million tons of lithium carbonate equivalent. It started production in December 2024 with an annual output of 506,000 tons of lithium concentrate, with plans to expand to 1 million tons. The Chinese government has hyped up this project as a shining example of the Belt and Road Initiative. However, while Ganfeng Lithium technically controls the project, Mali's government has forcibly taken 35% of the shares. The Chinese government claims the project will secure resources and increase self-sufficiency.
Oh, by the way, if you know anything about business and margins, if you have a business and someone takes from like 10% goes up to 35%, take an extra 25%, if you're overextended like China is, that'll throw that deal into bankruptcy, and Mali will end up owning the whole thing. Same thing with Kenya and their deep water port. Kind of sort of within the next year or two, you're going to hear Kenya reassuming national control of that deep water port as part of the One Belt Road Initiative that failed because China didn't follow through on their end of the contract. But that is a future show for later.
Arguing that it will raise lithium's self-sufficiency from 40% to 70%,
Conquer
reduce costs, and dominate the global lithium market. However, this hides the real mess. While the transport line from Mali to China has been opened, security risks, policy pressures, and social conflicts have turned this African layout into a high-risk gamble. The attacks on Chinese companies by Mali's anti-government group, JNIM, are closely tied to the country's political chaos. Since Mali gained independence from French colonial rule on June 20th, 1960, it has been plagued by internal religious and cultural.
That is why, Mo, the Chinese are letting the Africans, or paying the Africans to mine it without any safety concerns, as that one picture I showed you of how they're mining gold, and they use mercury most of the time to extract gold and then dump it in the rivers. Just imagine how safety conscious they are when it comes to mining lithium if it's someone else that's doing the mining. About 2 years ago, I did a video on how the Chinese actually were actively kicking Africans out of towns and cities. Most bizarre. I hadn't heard anything more about it, but it was about 2 years ago. So these people have been hating on each other for several years now. This is just now coming to a head.
Conflicts, as well as external power struggles. Frequent coups and poor governance have made the country unstable. As the former colonial power, France had maintained a military presence in Mali for years, helping the government fight terrorism. However, in 2021, a coup backed by Russia overthrew the Malian government. The new military government turned towards Moscow, expelling the French ambassador in January 2022. And
see that right there, what they just said. And basically Russia is in control of the Sahel nations. They're building Burkina Faso a nuclear power plant. They're doing a lot of things down there. And having said that, I can tell you this right now. The difference between America and Russia when dealing with terrorists is America cares about, what is that, collateral damage? The Russians don't. They just kill them. So if there's a terrorist organization operating in Russian-controlled territory, it's being allowed. And what that tells me is Russia and Chinese diplomacy is not as nice to each other as it's publicly being shown, for which I also have done reports on.
Severing diplomatic ties with France. On February 17, 2022, French
What's
troops
that,
left, leaving a
Mike?
power vacuum. Russia's Wagner mercenary group quickly moved in, forming an African legion to assist the military government in suppressing the anti-government forces. However, in June 2024, they suffered a heavy defeat, losing 84 soldiers. Taking advantage of the chaos, China also moved in, claiming to promote cooperation and mutual benefit, while actually expanding its resource exploitation and geopolitical ambitions in Mali. China used the United Nations peacekeeping platform to send troops into Mali, presenting it as a humanitarian mission. But in reality, this peacekeeping was a cover for expanding China's military footprint. This type of military diplomacy not only boosted China's presence in the UN, but also paved the way for its military ambitions in Africa. Economically, China used massive loans and infrastructure projects to implement debt diplomacy, forcing the Malian government to make political and resource-based compromises. After Mali joined the Belt and Road Initiative in 2019, Chinese investments appeared to help Mali's development. However, in reality, these investments have plunged the country into a debt trap with no tangible benefits for the people. Worse still, in the face of frequent coups and the military government's anti-democratic actions, China did not condemn the situation. Instead, it quickly aligned itself with the military government, deepening cooperation. This interest-first, justice-last foreign policy reveals China's pragmatic approach. Any dictatorship that offers resources is a friend. The people of Mali struggle with terrorism, political instability, and economic hardships, while China focuses on exporting its authoritarian model and trying to create an international order that benefits itself.
And why is Russia in there? Because China and Russia are not friends. They are competing for new economic outlets. So I believe the terrorist group that's attacking personally the Chinese is backed by Russia. And that's what I'm saying. All right, anyhow, it's none of our business. On to bigger and better things. Let's see here. Let's see. Share screen. Dragon cargo. Trump Putin smart glasses. Hold on. What was it I just found? There was another video. Dag nabbit. Oh well. I don't know where that video is. We're gonna do another video here. This is gonna show air supremacy and how we're going to use obsolete jets or obsolete cargo carriers to increase our military power. Hold on, wait. No, I know what I wanted to do. I wanted to do this for Mike. Mike Herrera. Do you recognize that ferry? That is the last ferry built in Washington State. Your other ferries are going to be built in Florida. All right. I had to do that. Sorry. Now back to change up. See those old airplanes there? That right there is going to scare the heck out of China. Why? Let's find out. It also saves America multi hundreds of billions of dollars, this airplane, for the future of warfare. It's amazing. We don't even have to build any new airplanes for the future of warfare. This is cool. Big money saver. Look at that. Like a C-141.
Ever seen a cargo hauler spit out 100 cruise missiles in a single breath? In January, a C-17 dumped 4 Rapid Dragon pallets and morphed, mid-flight, into the planet's biggest bomber without drilling a single rivet. If 650 plain Jane transports can flip the switch overnight, does Beijing's air defense...
That makes 650 3 times as missile prominent as the B what is that, the B-1 bomber, the B-51 bomber? That airplane right there can drop 100 cruise missiles. Our nuclear submarines don't even hold that many, I don't think.
Defense playbook just collapsed on takeoff? 30 seconds. That's how long it took a C-130H
sorry for throwing the jab
flying a
at you, Mike. You
low-level
have a good one,
racetrack
brother.
over the Arabian Peninsula on 26 January 2025 to dump 2 Rapid Dragon pallets, peel away, and watch 6 joint air-to-surface standoff missiles light off and streak toward a desert impact grid. The drop was the centerpiece of Operation Agile Spartan, the latest proof of concept that palletized weapons can ride into theater on everyday airlifters and launch in places bombers can't safely stage. Why the hype? Because Rapid Dragon flips the bomber math. More than 650 C-130 and C-17 series airframes against just 140 dedicated bombers. With roll-on, roll-off bomb bay in a box kits, each Hercules suddenly carries a dozen stealth cruise missiles. A Globemaster can toss 45. No structural mods, no extra crew training, just rig, roll, and drop. Air Force strategists now slot the system squarely into the Agile Combat Employment Playbook, scattering missile-ready transports across satellite runways that peer adversaries can't pre-target. That dispersion buys you hours, maybe days of uncontested salvo time. One planner told Congress. The kicker? Production is finally real. February 2024. Budget notes show Rapid Dragon moving from low-rate builds to the first full-rate lot this summer, just in time for the system's first high-latitude stress test later this winter. But testers say the desert drop exposed a hard limit. Standard JASSM ER top out before the cargo hauler is truly safe from next-gen surface-to-air missiles. Enter the Extreme Range JASSM XR. Lockheed's new AGM-158XR just bulldozed Rapid Dragon's comfort zone.
Look at this.
Unveiled at the Air, Space, and
This
Cyber
is
Conference
amazing.
in September 2024, the stretched JASSM packs extra fuel and promises 1,900 kilometer reach, double the old extended range rounds. Bigger punch means bigger
Sorry,
headaches.
Mike, I had to
The
get the
XR's
picture out.
added length and weight force engineers to carve a V2 pallet cell. Wider skids, stronger cradle, deeper deployment bay. Air Force Labs call it Rapid Dragon Heavy. And fit checks on a C-17 simulator wrapped in April. Flight test number 1 is penciled for Q4 2025 at White Sands. A C-17 will drop a single-cell prototype to verify chute stability before greenlighting full...
Mo, after I got out of the Army, I was directionless after the war, and I still had a lot of esprit de corps in me and a lot of, I wanted to destroy something or do something crazy. And I tried out for the pararescue in the Air Force, and it's the highest security clearance available for the Air Force, even more so than the CCT, their combat controllers. And I blew all of their stats out of the water. I was like, early 20s, 22, 21, 23, somewhere around there. Probably 23, actually. And there was a bunch of 18-year-old kids and myself. And we had like this full day physical tryout out in the sun on the beach in Edwards Air Force Base and Eglin Air Force Base. I think it's in Northwest Florida. And it was like 8-hour outdoor trials, running, push-ups, swimming, rescue, swim, all this other stuff. And I came in like a half hour ahead of the other guys. I was the first one in. And the first thing I did is I looked at the staff sergeant and I made an observation and I asked him for a cigarette. And he said, "How did you know I had a cigarette?" I said, "Well, I noticed your pockets and I noticed, a couple of things that said you had cigarettes. So can I have one? I left mine in my car." And he was so impressed with my observational skills after 8 hours of rigorous workout in the hot sun and how I hadn't lost my mental capacity. I got pushed to the front of the line to go into the pararescue, and everything was a go. And I was fixing to get my above top secret security clearance before I signed my paperwork, and it came back. I did not qualify for the security clearance because I had $10,000 worth of student loan debt. So I did not go in the Air Force.
Full 9-pack salvos. Range is king, but price wounds linger. and XR tips the ledger at roughly $2 million
See you
per
later,
shot,
brother. Thanks
according
for
to
stopping by.
budget backups, nearly 40% higher than today's JASM ER. Congressional staff already warned that Rapid Dragon's value dies if ammo stays boutique priced. That frustration births a Rebel, a $150,000 cruise missile gunning to flood the pallets. Lockheed Martin's Common multi-mission truck, nicknamed Comet, crashed the munitions market on March 3rd, 2025, with a sticker price of roughly $150,000 per round, a full order of magnitude below a stealthy JASM. The subsonic modular airframe borrows Speed Racer digital designs and plugs into the Pentagon's new affordable mass doctrine, aimed squarely at stretching China's air defense radar screens thin. Quantity is the real shockwave. Briefed at the Air and Space Forces Warfare Symposium, engineers revealed that a single Rapid Dragon pallet can pack 25 Comets, and a C-17 can sling 4 pallets for a 100 missile broadside. Drop tests wrapped in March, the next free flight demo rides Project Franklin this summer, where data will set production rates that could hit 2,500 rounds a year if greenlit. Competition is already circling. Co-Aspire's 3D printed, rapidly adaptable, affordable cruise missile flashed its own low-cost credentials at Sea Airspace 2025, promising plug-and-play compatibility with any jet that hauls a 500-pound bomb. Add Anduril's Barracuda and DIU's Enterprise test vehicle finalists, and the cheap cruise field looks like a Silicon Valley land rush. Budget hawks love it. Prime contractor lobbies loathe it. Next up, allies want in, but integration bugs may spoil the export party. Japan set aside 3.8 billion yen, approximately 25 million US dollars, in its December 2024 supplementary budget to pallet arm the Kawasaki C2 fleet. Engineers finished the first digital fit check in April 2025, proving a 6-missile Rapid Dragon pallet slides straight into the cargo bay with no airframe mods. A live drop trial at Gifu Air Base is now penciled for early 2026. Europe has moved from curiosity to currency. During the Atreus 22-4 demo in Norway, back in November 2022, Polish crews loaded U.S. Rapid Dragon cells into their C-130s. Since then, the 33rd Transport Aviation Base has run quarterly reload drills, and Warsaw says it will declare an initial Rapid Dragon-capable squadron by NATO's Dragon 25 exercise. But enthusiasm alone will not close the range gap. A June 2025 GAO weapons assessment blasted proprietary data links and closed software hooks that keep partners from retasking missiles in flight. Warning the practice locks in monopoly margins and slows coalition integration. Japan's C2 mission computers ride a homegrown network stack, while European regulators forced a heavier drogue chute that shaves 90 kilograms off usable payload per pallet. Until those wrinkles are ironed out, every export carries the drag of bespoke engineering hours, and that threatens Rapid Dragon's promise of fast, cheap mass. Lockheed just threw more steel at the problem, $122 million to turbocharge its JASM and LRASM lines, and a new Orlando Bay that doubles output to 1,000 missiles a year. The surge comes after Pentagon analysts warned production was critically late for a Pacific fight, yet prices keep spiking. The fiscal year 2026 request pegs a single JASM at $2.6 million, LRASM $3.6 million, numbers that torch the Air Force's affordable mass mantra and dwarf the fleet of $150,000 Comets waiting in the wings. Lawmakers now ask why stealth skins still cost solid gold money. A June GAO audit digs deeper. Proprietary seeker modules and closed data links block second source suppliers, hard-coding monopoly margins into every round. The report warns that without an open plug-and-fight architecture, Rapid Dragon will run dry before hour 12 of a high-end campaign. Commanders feel the pinch already. Indo-Pac Air Forces says current stockpiles would last days, not weeks, while a U.S. 4-star just urged NATO to triple long-range magazines before Russia resets in 2027. The message, buy volume now or cede the salvo race later. Strategists see one escape hatch, load Rapid Dragon with payloads that are cheaper than...
Did you see how those things launch? Those parachutes on the top hold this thing down. Then all 9 of these one at a time fall straight down. As they're falling down, they ignite their engines and then head to their target. So basically what you have is appearing from the back of a cargo airplane, a possible 100 accurate strike heavy ballistic missiles that don't need to go thousands of miles, only hundreds of miles. And out of the blue, your air defense system could not keep up with it. It's a total game changer. makes China rethink their strategy, along with the Chinese proving that they take fishermen, captain, and put them in charge of warboats. That's why they run into each other.
Missiles, electronic jammers, sensor drones, even resupply pods are queuing for the same Dropbox slots. That multi-mission pivot headlines next. Rapid Dragon is no longer just a missile rack. It is morphing into a flying Swiss Army pallet. The Air Force Research Laboratory's 2024 fact sheet lists electromagnetic jammers, broadband decoys, and Altius 600 sensor drones as plug-and-play effects modules that ride in the same Dropbox skeleton as cruise missiles. Engineers added a universal power rail and data bus this spring, so a C-130 crew chief can swap from weapons to jammers in under 20 minutes on the ramp. Proof is coming fast. During RE4PAC 25, the Pacific's largest agile combat employment exercise, 2 MC-130Js airdropped a mixed pallet. The lead cradle fires a low-cost Comet missile. The trailing cells eject mini-drones that spread electronic noise across KU and S-band fire control radars. Test cards say success means holding a notional enemy battery blind for 6 minutes, long enough for 4th-gen fighters to slip past. Logistics teams want in too. Air Mobility Command is prototyping a 4,500-pound resupply pod that carries blood plasma, micro generators, or ammunition bundles, using Rapid Dragon chutes to drop into dirt strips where traditional airdrops draw too much small arms fire. The pod's first combat survivability run tagged along on the same RE4PAC sortie, and the pallet landed intact. Commanders get a 2-for-1. Missiles out, medical kits in. The expanded menu thrills tacticians but rattles accountants. The fiscal year 2026 R1 and House Appropriations language earmark Rapid Dragon for full-rate funding next spring, yet stipulate that production money flows only if the multi-mission hardware proves it can survive salt spray, Arctic cold, and runway grit without constant depot touch-ups. Miss just one environmental gate, and the whole program slips a year. That cliff edge decision lands in May 2026. Pass the tests, and Rapid Dragon becomes the Pentagon's pop-up arsenal. Missiles, jammers, drones, or med kits on 650-plus cargo planes. Fail, and the Air Force reverts to boutique cruise missile stockpiles, while China keeps extending its air defense reach. The clock is ticking, and the wrap-up will tally who gains the salvo edge if Congress pulls the plug. Rapid Dragon just rewrote the math of massed fires, yet its fate hangs on a single budget line. If the May 2026 environmental trials flunk, Congress will freeze full-rate money, and the Air Force will limp into the Pacific fight with boutique cruise missile stocks.
Yeah, that's not going to happen. I guarantee you they're going to pass the environmental tests. That won't be an issue because we're going to be wanting them. It's a game changer. Oh, and as far as drone swarms, Conqueror Balls, if you watch the video I did the other day on ammunition, mostly it was started out with shotgun shells, but then it went into military and how they are using this new style of ammunition to where you can have a rifle squad, and one of the rifle squad members or two of them could actually turn into artillery members because of these new types of ammunition. There's a whole thing I did on it. And part of this new weapon system that's going to be given to rifle squads or every platoon in the military is an anti-drone swarm device where you get alerted of an incoming drone swarm. The 2 or 3 individuals that have these weapon systems fire their weapons into the air. These little missile systems that they fired out go towards the swarm and negate it. So swarm is not an issue. We've already got a defense system that's getting into the hands of our infantry as we speak to take care of that. I'll talk to you later, Conqueror Balls. But yeah, before you go believe in everything about America is such a piece of crap country and everyone else is better than us, know this: China steals all of our shit. They don't develop anything, so we're definitely above and beyond anything they have. It's just a matter of getting it to our men. That's the only problem. You were on this Diego Garcia, and you didn't know how to swim? Wow. I hope you walked around with a life preserver on, bro. That thing's like, what, only 2 foot above sea level or something like that? You get a big wave and knocks your ass out in the ocean, you better learn to swim quick. That or you become chum. Oh, by the way, Mo, hold on just a second here. I have it right here. I am going to, let's see, let me hold this thing up properly. There it is. Let's see. Take that off. Throw this up. Yeah, I'm shirtless right now. Sorry, guys. I need to get in here and get the share screen. Nope. I need to get the visual effects. None. You're ready to put one back up. Okay, here you go. Does this look familiar to you, Mo? This is what the mechanics wear on Diego Garcia. I had a friend of mine retired out of the Air Force. He was in the group. Diego, yeah, that island. Diego Garcia. And as an iron worker, I was like, dude, you guys face heavy fucking winds and heavy humidity, right? So those maintenance suits they make you put on, they're good against that shit. He goes, man, they're great. I was like, you're out of the Air Force now, right? And he was like, yeah. I was like, you still have some? I was like, can I get them? He said, yeah, here, have 2 of them. And I actually have worn those on high-rise buildings to help keep me warm in cold, miserable conditions because they were made by the military specifically for you guys out at Diego's, that place. And another thing about America, my brother retired as a Green Beret instructor. He actually taught Green Beret how to become Green Beret. And I had a pretty significant operating experience in the military. And my 2 nephews, one of them's a mirror image, spitting image of me. They're both joining the military, so America's going to be fine. You got, you're going to get another operations for about 20 years, guys. We're going to be just fine. Actually, better than fine because they got an uncle and a father that'll make sure of it. They will get directed in the best direction to do the best possible things for this country, with the best training and technical support and oversight. And they will be successful at all kinds of operations. What's up, Jeffro? Pico Dream. No, I do not, Mo. I heard, 2 decades ago, a story about it, but I do not. My recall of it is bad. If you'd like to give a little description of what the history of how they were taken out, I imagine it had something to do with India, because around that area there's actually the only indigenous, non-touched by modern day human tribe in an island down on the southeast of the Indian Ocean. It's closer to Indonesia, but it's controlled by India. And it's got a 5 nautical mile range, quarantine range that the Indian Navy has ships actively patrolling. It's where that back in like 20 American missionary guy tried to go there, and the natives ended up killing him. That island, it's supposedly between 50 and 150 natives that have never been contacted by outside people outside of that island. And then they still have bow, arrows, and actually, no, they are not cannibal headhunters. They're not cannibal or headhunters. They actually bury the dead that they kill on the beach as a warning to others not to come on the island. but no proof has ever been shown that they're cannibalistic. But they definitely shoot arrows at helicopters and passing boats. I saw a couple of videos of missionaries trying to come in on a boat, get arrows start flying in just like medieval days, man, except for they don't have shields. And a couple of missionaries got hit in the shoulders and leg with arrows. Primitive arrows still actually more effective because of the bacteria. It's a lot more effective. It's like piston on the end of a freaking round. There's a lot of chemical agents that get in this older primitive arrows. Modern technology and modern arrows makes it more sterile to get shot. The only infection you'll get is the clothing that you wear above where the arrow hits, that gets pushed into the freshly opened up wound, and any bacteria contaminants that are on your own clothing. But as far as the arrowhead itself, yeah, you're not going to get too many contaminants on that. Mauritius, that's that island down there above Madagascar, isn't it? By the seashells? No, not the seashells. What's that other island? There's two island nations, real small, right above that island off the east coast, Madagascar. Between India and Madagascar, there's two islands. I believe that's one of them, Mauritius. Yeah, they were looking at giving Diego Garcia to that small. The UN wanted to do that, so they would get the American base off of Diego Garcia quick. Some leftist UN folks were like, "Hey, let's give Diego Garcia to Maltisha, a small island of like 50,000 people or less, and controlled by others." Because they wanted to get the American base off of Diego Garcia. I think that just did a report on it, but I saw it. What was happening. Knew it was going to get squished. So let's see, what else do I have here? Do you guys want to know about, well, nah. Okay, this one here. We'll do this one here. I did a show, probably 3 or 4 different types of smart glasses. This is another show on that. I just think these glasses are so badass.
Concept anymore. They're here, they're real, and they're getting smarter by the minute. In 2025, we're seeing a wave of jaw-dropping smart eyewear notifications. These glasses can translate languages in real time, guide your walking directions, summarize your emails, record your life, and even run AI agents that talk back, all without ever touching a screen. In this video, we'll break down the 10 most insane smart glasses of 2025, who's building them, what they can actually do, and which ones are about to replace your phone, your camera, and maybe even your assistant.
I'm waiting for one that has infrared or an ultraviolet, because I saw a show on contact lenses that will allow you to see in the infrared spectrum. So at night, you don't have to walk around wondering if anyone's in the shadows, because you'd be able to see their heat signature. But I haven't seen that on it. That's why I want to see this, see if any of these 10 smart glasses have that.
Whether you're a tech lover, early adopter, or just curious about what's coming next, you're not ready for this. Brilliant Labs frame, minimalist glasses with a built-in AI agent. Brilliant Labs has taken a completely different approach with its 2025 frame, smart glasses, lightweight, open source, and powered by a built-in AI assistant named Noah. These ultra-slim glasses use a tiny high-contrast display embedded in the lens to overlay real-time information like translations, navigation, and visual analysis, all in your direct line of sight. What's shocking is the level of autonomy packed into such a small frame. With a built-in camera, microphone, and onboard processing, Frame can recognize objects, read signs, and even talk you through tasks using conversational AI, all without needing a connected phone. It's wearable computing stripped to its essence, simple design, powerful intelligence, and real-world awareness at eye level. X-Real Air 2 Ultra, AR glasses that feel like sci-fi. The X-Real Air 2 Ultra Smart glasses are one of the most futuristic wearables on the market, blending advanced augmented reality with spatial computing in a lightweight, stylish frame. Unlike most smart glasses that just display notifications or capture video, the Air 2 Ultra projects full 3D AR environments into your view using dual micro-O LED displays. You can place virtual screens around you, watch videos floating in the air, browse the web, or even run multiple apps in your field of vision. No headset or laptop required. With 6 degrees of freedom, 6 DOF, tracking and hand gesture support, these glasses respond to your movements naturally, giving you a true mixed reality experience. And with X-Real's growing app ecosystem, productivity and entertainment merge seamlessly. Whether you're working remotely, gaming, or traveling, the X-Real Air 2 Ultra brings sci-fi level computing right to your face without blocking the real world. Solos Ergo 3 smart glasses that talk fitness, navigation, and ChatGPT. The Solos Ergo 3 might look like regular glasses, but they're packed with AI-driven features built for everyday productivity and fitness tracking. These glasses come with built-in ChatGPT integration, allowing you to ask questions, get reminders, dictate texts, and even receive voice-guided coaching, all without touching your phone. They feature bone conduction audio, so you can hear everything clearly without blocking out ambient sound. Perfect for running, biking.
See, this podcast is a dual use. I'm actually shopping, seeing which pair of glasses, seeing new glasses that they're talking about would be the best for my scenario and what I want to use them for, and I want to see what's out there. And I figured I'd show everyone else as I'm shopping.
Or city commuting. Solos also include a fitness assistant that tracks steps, distance, calories, and heart rate when paired with a smartwatch. Plus, with real-time navigation, your glasses can guide you turn by turn through city streets or hiking trails using audio and light cues. What makes the Ergo 3 truly unique is its modular design. You can swap out frames while keeping the tech core intact. It's smart, sporty, and surprisingly powerful, ideal for users who want AI without the bulk. Oppo AirGlass 3, your voice-controlled assistant in a minimal frame. The Oppo AirGlass 3 is one of the sleekest AI glasses of 2025, designed to look like regular eyewear while offering cutting-edge voice and visual assistance powered by Oppo's own Andes GPT model. These glasses focus on voice-first interaction, allowing users to control apps, ask questions, translate languages, and receive notifications, all through natural language commands. Paired with a smartphone, they can display real-time info on a waveguide display, like navigation prompts, message previews, and schedule alerts. What sets the AirGlass 3 apart is its lightweight form factor and clear lens projection, making it ideal for all-day wear without eye strain or social awkwardness. Andes GPT responds contextually, remembers past queries, and handles daily tasks like a true digital assistant, hands-free, screen-free, and frictionless. If you want AI-enhanced support without looking like you're wearing a sci-fi headset, Oppo's AirGlass 3 is the subtle but smart choice. Snap Spectacles, your life, captured in real time. Snap Spectacles have evolved beyond social gimmicks. They're now a serious contender in the AI smart glasses race. These glasses come with dual HD cameras, spatial audio, and real-time AR overlays, allowing you to record, stream, and experience the world hands-free. They're designed for creators, vloggers, and anyone who wants to capture life exactly as they see it. But it's not just about video. In 2025, Snap is rumored to be adding AI editing tools, scene detection, and on-device voice control. That means your glasses can identify what you're filming, make content suggestions, and even create short clips, all on the go.
Dude, inside I'm laughing like a son of a bitch. You see this black guy here taking a picture of this guy? That's going to be the future, because there's going to be a lot of weirdos with glasses on doing crazy shit walking down the road. And people like this black guy here with the white shirt are going to take pictures of him saying, look at this idiot. He's got a pair of glasses on walking down the road shooting arrows and stuff.
Spectacles blur the line between creator tool and lifestyle assistant, turning your perspective into instant content. Meta Ray-Ban smart glasses, AI in your eyeline. Meta's latest Ray-Ban smart glasses look like designer shades, but they're packing serious AI power. Equipped with Meta AI, powered by Llama 3, these glasses let you talk to an assistant directly through your voice without ever pulling out your phone. You can ask for facts, control your music, send messages, or even get help identifying landmarks, all hands-free. The built-in camera and speaker allow for live video streaming and photo capture. And a multimodal update is coming soon that will let the glasses see what you see, enabling real-time object recognition and contextual AI responses. Meta isn't just building smart glasses. They're building the foundation for on-face AI assistants that live with you.
Hey, you guys put down in the chat, how many of you guys think this technology will help stop crime or capture criminals
with you and help you navigate the real world. Rokid Max Portable Cinema meets AI assistance. The Rokid Max smart glasses are built for one thing above all, immersive entertainment on the go. But in 2025, they've evolved into something much smarter, with AI-powered features now enhancing both content and productivity. These glasses offer a massive 215-inch virtual display with crisp 1080p visuals and immersive audio, making them ideal for streaming movies, gaming, or working with multiple virtual screens. No monitor required. The new update brings voice control and AI assistant integration, letting you launch apps, change settings, or even ask questions midstream. Paired with a phone or laptop, they can function like a full AR workstation in your pocket.
You know, I remember seeing in the late 80s and I don't know how they did it back then. It was a study some university or government agency was doing, and having people come in and watch commercials, and they made them put on this special pair of glasses, and somehow they'd be able to track by these people wearing these glasses where specifically they were looking on the screen of that commercial. And that's how they were refining commercials for the optimum return on investment for the commercial, by seeing, you know, male, female, age group, where they actually looked during commercials, what attracted their attention, all this other psychological information gathered back late 80s, early 90s by this pair of glasses. And I guess this is the, you know, model 17 or 18 after that.
Rokid has also added eye protection tech, low latency for gamers, and lightweight comfort for extended use.
You know,
whether you're flying, commuting, or just unplugging at home, the Rokid Max transforms your surroundings into a private theater and smart workspace. No screen necessary.
But see, the problem with that, Mo, is the glasses, because of the intelligent AI, will have a data list that you could go back to and recover. And so if a woman made a claim against you for doing that and you said, no, you weren't, they'd be able to retrieve that information, and it would prove your guilt. So I don't know how big that's going to be.
Vuzix Ultralight, enterprise-grade smart glasses in a lightweight frame. The Vuzix Ultralight stands out in 2025 for one key reason. It's designed to deliver real-time AI-powered information without compromising on style or comfort. Perfect for both enterprise and everyday use. At just 38 grams, these are some of the lightest smart glasses available. Yet they pack a punch with a micro LED display, voice control, and seamless Bluetooth connectivity to your smartphone. Paired with AI assistants like Alexa or ChatGPT, the Ultralight can provide on-the-go updates like weather, navigation, meeting summaries, and even inventory tracking or field support, making it ideal for professionals in logistics, healthcare, retail, and remote work. The battery lasts all day, and the display is bright enough for outdoor visibility, yet discreet enough to avoid distraction. If you're looking for smart glasses that feel invisible but act in
I'm sorry, but if you're wearing those, that's not discreet. You're looking like Geordi from Star Trek. Look how thick those are. That draws attention on its own.
intelligent, the Vuzix Ultralight brings subtle innovation to both work and life. TCL Rainio X2, full-color AR glasses with real-time translation. The TCL Rainio X2 takes smart glasses to the next level with full-color augmented reality and an impressive set of AI-powered features, all packed into a frame that looks like everyday eyewear. These glasses project rich AR visuals directly onto your lens using a micro LED display, offering heads-up navigation, notifications, and contextual information without blocking your view of the real world. But the standout feature, real-time translation. The Rainio X2 can listen to conversations and instantly display translated subtitles in your language.
Oh, that's dangerous. That's very dangerous.
It's ideal for travelers, multilingual meetings, or global business use. With built-in voice control, GPS, and a smart assistant, you can manage calls, texts, and reminders, all hands-free. TCL has also improved battery life and comfort, making it suitable for all-day wear. Rainio X2 isn't just a wearable display, it's a personal interpreter, smart assistant, and AR navigator, all in one stylish package. Lenovo ThinkReality 3 Enterprise AR with AI-powered precision. The Lenovo ThinkReality A3 is designed for professionals who need serious augmented reality performance in demanding environments like engineering, healthcare, manufacturing, and remote support. Unlike more casual smart glasses, the A3 offers multi-screen virtual displays, real-time data visualization, and AI-enhanced diagnostics, all delivered through its high...
But see, that right there actually looks like you're wearing your freaking computer on your damn head. Look at that double screen. You got your glasses here, and then or I don't know, maybe these outside ones are the glasses and inside one's the computer. I don't know. It's like a double glass. That's too ridiculous.
High resolution.
Although it is cool that you can plug straight into a computer system to where you don't need a monitor or anything. You can just go to a plug-in data center plug-in and plug into it and access it. That's kind of cool. Don't have to carry a laptop around.
Stereoscopic lenses. You can run complex enterprise software,
What's
scan
that?
environments,
Yeah,
and
just
collaborate in 3D space,
Indeed.
hands-free. It connects to compatible PCs and Motorola smartphones,
Gotta make
turning
that
them into
money
portable
somehow.
AR workstations. With AI integrations, it can perform visual recognition, deliver voice-guided instructions, and even
Visual recognition. I like that feature because as an iron worker, you can only imagine how many. Well, it's gotten a lot better over the past 10 years. We've filtered a lot of them out. But when I started back in the 90s, a lot of like, what is that? Megan's Law guys, a lot of things like that would be working for us. And you wouldn't even know who they are because they don't legally have to tell you. But you can go research names and legally find out. So with these AI visual recognition glasses, you can instantly find out who around you, and they can't lie to you or pretend to be something else.
analyze your surroundings for task automation. Its adjustable frame and privacy-focused design make it secure for frontline use, especially in sensitive sectors like finance, logistics, and defense. For companies building the future with smart tools, the ThinkReality A3 isn't just eyewear. It's an AI-powered productivity engine worn on your face. So there you have it, 10 of the most advanced AI smart glasses of 2025, and every one of them.
And you see there, that guy was just doing some work on some sort of equipment. I don't know what he was working on. Let me get back here. Yeah, that right there. I guess some sort of a electric motor bike. And it's actually giving him real-time screen on the glasses, looking at the piece, saying this piece is this piece is that. So it could really be helpful. I understand y'all's kind of bad side elements that it could be used for. And yes, it could be used for bad side, but the amount of good things that You know, working on your own car, I quit working on cars. Before I became an iron worker back in the mid 80s, early 80s, I apprenticed for a car mechanic when you actually used tools and there was carburetors. And then they started coming with computers and shit like this, and I just got away from it, went somewhere else because I knew it would be too much of a headache. But now with a set of glasses like that, I wouldn't be nearly as intimidated to go up to an electric car and pop the hood and just have the glasses activate and tell me everything that's what, because I know if I had direction, I could work on it. But without having direction, I don't know what the hell I'm doing. And those glasses could add a lot of direction to a lot of different people as they're doing things that would make them more successful at doing things without having to pay others or to help them do a better job at their work. I mean, I see a lot of instances where there's good, but I have a positive attitude and positive outlook. So I like to see the good before I see the bad. But yes, there's potential for bad. There's always potential for bad. The difference between that is good people doing nothing. So all the good people just need to step up. Let's see here. You guys want to know? Okay, no, I'm going to do it anyhow just because it's funny. Well, it's not funny, but it is funny. It's about the Windsor family. We're not going to watch the whole thing. It's the Windsor, it's Billionaire Chronicles. He's got 97,000 subscribers. I already gave him a thumbs up. Let's see if I already passed this on to you guys. Yeah, let's increase the screen here. Go back over here. The Windsor Dynasty, old money German family who took over the British royal throne. Now, before we go any further, ask yourselves, did the Germans really lose World War II?
Of presidents and prime ministers, where power is supposed to be won at the ballot box, there's a paradox sitting right at the heart of global influence. How can one family, with no army, no political mandate, and a job that is officially just ceremonial, command such incredible global power? I'm talking about the Windsors. Their names are household words in every corner of the world. Their faces sell magazines, their lives become blockbuster TV shows, and their movements can genuinely shift economies and guide diplomatic conversations. While their constitutional power might be symbolic, their real influence is a different beast altogether. It's a carefully built mix of soft power, strategic alliances, and almost unimaginable wealth that's been centuries in the making. This isn't just a story about crowns and castles. It's a story of survival, of shrewd strategy, and of the quiet, relentless accumulation of power. It's the story of how a German dynasty completely transformed itself into the ultimate British institution, and how that institution became one of the most influential royal families on the planet. We're going to uncover the centuries-long journey, the calculated risks, and the brilliant moves that made the Windsors who they are today. This is the blueprint of their power, a story of how influence is built not with laws, but with symbols, wealth, and a brand more powerful than any corporation. So here's the central question. How can a family with almost no official political power be arguably the most influential dynasty on Earth? It seems like it shouldn't be possible, a total contradiction in the modern age, and yet the British monarchy, under the House of Windsor, has mastered a completely different kind of authority. It's a power that doesn't need votes, a power that operates in that grey area between politics and culture. To understand their dominance, you have to look past the parades and the pageantry and see the machinery working silently behind the palace walls. This is the story of how the House of Windsor strategically built and continues to protect its position as the world's most powerful family. To really get the Windsor dynasty, you have to know one thing first. They shouldn't even exist. At least, not with that name. The story of their modern power begins not with a conquest, but with a reinvention. It begins with a name change. Before they were the Windsors, they were the House of Saxe-Coburg and Gotha, a name that just screamed German aristocracy, a holdover from Queen Victoria's marriage to Prince Albert. For a long time, this German connection was a point of pride, but by 1917, it had become a fatal flaw. World War I was raging. Britain was locked in a brutal war with Germany, and anti-German feeling was boiling over in the streets. In that supercharged atmosphere, the royal family's own name became a source of national embarrassment. The king, George V, was first cousins with the German Kaiser Wilhelm II. Their family name, Saxe-Coburg and Gotha, was a constant public reminder of their connection to the enemy. The breaking point came in March 1917, when German Gotha Gi-4 bombers began attacking London. Think about that. The name of the bomber dropping death on London was the same as the name of the... The public felt like the bombs falling on their heads carried their own king's name. They were in an impossible spot. The monarchy...
So hold on a second. The British were actually seeing that they were paying for the bombs that were dropped on their heads. I wish we were that lucky today. They've done a good job of fooling us, huh?
which was meant to be the symbol of British defiance, was tied directly to the enemy.
Hey, what's up,
This
Maggers?
wasn't just a PR problem, it was an existential threat. Across Europe, empires were crumbling and monarchies were being wiped out. The British royal family knew it had to adapt or die. And this is where the first great strategic move of the modern dynasty happened. King George V, a real traditionalist, made a radical choice. On July 17, 1917, he issued a proclamation that cut all ties to their German past. The name Saxe-Coburg and Gotha was gone. In its place, he chose a new, perfectly English name, Windsor. It was a stroke of marketing genius.
By the way, if you look at the English Royal Windsor flag, there is a unicorn on it because the Germans kept their Scottish ties. So I always like to laugh and tell the English their country was run by a Scottish queen, but it was actually more appropriately a German Scottish queen was running England.
The name came from Windsor Castle, one of the oldest royal homes. It sounded solid, ancient, and most importantly, British. But this was way more than just a name change. It was a total rebranding of the monarchy itself.
Just a question you can answer in chat. How many of you guys knew that this information?
King George V also renounced all German titles for himself and his family. He forced his relatives to do the same, swapping their German titles for English-sounding surnames. The Battenbergs became the Mountbattens, the Tecks became the Cambridges and Athlones. In one move, the royal...
Cambridges? Hello? See a connection there with our colleges?
family scrubbed itself clean of its foreignness. It was a declaration that the monarchy's loyalty was to the British people and the British people alone. This act of strategic rebranding was the foundation of the modern House of Windsor. It established a rule that has guided them ever since. Survival means aligning with the national identity. It was the first look at their blueprint for power. When the world changes, don't fight it. Pivot, rebrand. This move turned the family from German aristocrats into the very symbol of Britishness. It was a lesson they'd never forget, a masterstroke that saved them while other royal houses fell into the dustbin of history. The Windsors had learned that in the 20th century, power wasn't just about bloodline, it was about brand. Less than 2 decades after that masterful rebranding, the new Windsor dynasty faced a crisis so deep it nearly shattered everything. The abdication crisis of 1936 is often...
By the way, that was caused by the CIA sending a very seductive divorced female over to take care of this dude, and he advocated. It worked.
Often remembered as a love story, a king who gave up his throne for the woman he loved.
Yeah, right. She was
But
CIA.
behind the romance was a brutal power struggle. It was a moment that proved the monarchy's second great secret. The institution is always more important than the individual, and the brand of duty must be protected no matter what. When King George V died in 1936, the crown went to his son, Edward VIII. Edward was handsome, modern, and hugely popular. He seemed like a breath of fresh air.
Also known as
But
Nazi
behind the
King.
scenes, the establishment was worried. Edward was seen as a loose cannon, avoiding his royal duties and showing a shocking lack of interest in the job he was born to do. The crisis blew up when Edward announced he was going to marry Wallis Simpson, a twice-divorced American socialite. For the government and the church, this was a non-starter. The King of England is also the head of the Church of England, which at the time didn't allow divorced people to remarry if their ex-spouse was still alive. For the king to do it was a constitutional and religious nightmare. But the real secret was that the problem wasn't just Wallis Simpson. The real issue was Edward himself. The Prime Minister, Stanley Baldwin, and the royal court saw a man who put his personal desires above his public duty. He was a threat to the brand of selfless service his father had built. The monarchy had survived World War I by becoming a symbol of stability. Edward risked turning it into a celebrity soap opera. Faced with an impossible choice, Edward chose the woman. On December 11, 1936, he gave up the throne. In his famous radio address, he said, "I have found it impossible to carry the heavy burden of responsibility without the help and support of the woman I love." His abdication sent a shockwave around the world. But for the monarchy, it was a painful but powerful moment of reinforcement. The establishment chose the crown over the king. The throne passed to Edward's shy, stammering younger brother, Albert. He took the name George VI, a deliberate choice to signal continuity and calm public fears. He and his wife, Queen Elizabeth, were the complete opposite of Edward and Wallis. They were dependable, family-focused,
You can see
and totally committed to the idea of duty. They
kind of see the resemblance, huh?
were the brand. Their reputation was forged in the fires of World War II. When London was being bombed during the Blitz, the King and Queen refused to leave. They stayed in Buckingham Palace, visiting bombed-out neighborhoods and becoming a powerful symbol of defiance. When the palace itself was bombed, the Queen famously said, "I am glad we have been bombed. It makes me feel I can look the East End in the face." That act of solidarity was priceless. George VI and his family cemented the Windsor brand for a generation. They proved the monarchy wasn't about glamour, but about sacrifice. The abdication, which started as a disaster, became a defining moment. It purged the institution of a king who didn't fit the mold and replaced him with one who did perfectly.
And if you another show, yeah, piracy. The origination of it started out because of exactly that type of thing. They throw people away that are inconvenient. The royals have always done that, always, and there has always been a group of people that hate them for it. And American Revolution was started actually at the beginning of piracy in the, 1500s, but it was squashed, and then history changed it up to piracy and blah, blah, blah. But that's another story.
It revealed another rule in the Windsor playbook: protect the brand at all costs.
Yeah, throw people.
The power of the
bus, right
Windsors
center.
wasn't in the person wearing the crown, but in the idea the crown represented, and that idea was duty. As the 20th century wore on, the Windsors faced another huge threat: the end of the British Empire.
Yes.
For centuries, the monarch's power was tied to an empire on which the sun never set. But after World War II, that was all changing. One by one, nations from India to Africa sought independence. The end of the empire should have been the end of the monarchy's global influence.
The reason why that happened, he specifically stated at the end of World War II. I have said this several times. America is the only country in the history of our planet, written history that we have. I'm sure there, 500,000 years ago might have been something, but the written history we have, America is the only country who defeated other nations in battle and did not conquer and occupy. They conquered and rebuilt, and in doing so, brought about the destruction of the English Empire ever since the end of World War II. So you see these little red dots, the British Empire disappearing. That is because of America and the way we handled our victory in World War II.
But it wasn't. In one of the most brilliant strategic pivots of the modern era, the Windsors, led by a young Queen Elizabeth II, managed to turn a moment of loss into a new source of power. They didn't fight the end of empire, they repurposed it. This was the secret to their survival as a global force, the creation of the Commonwealth of Nations. The modern Commonwealth was born from the London Declaration in 1949. The problem was India, which wanted to be a republic, but stay in the club of former British territories. The solution was genius. The monarch would no longer be the ruler of every nation, but would be recognized as the symbolic head of the Commonwealth. It was a subtle change, but a profound one. It shifted the Queen's role from imperial ruler to a voluntary, symbolic leader.
A financial leader.
When Elizabeth II took the throne in 1952, she dedicated her reign to making this new model work. She understood that hard power, the power of armies, was gone. In its place, she would master soft power, the power of influence, diplomacy, and attraction. The Queen became the Commonwealth's greatest champion. She went on epic royal tours, visiting nearly every country in the organization. These weren't just photo ops, they were master classes in diplomacy. She built deep personal relationships with generations of leaders, from India's Jawaharlal Nehru to South Africa's Nelson Mandela. Because she was above politics, she could be a unifying figure in a way prime ministers never could. The Commonwealth gives the House of Windsor a unique global stage. While some royal families, like those in the Middle East, wield far more direct political and financial power in their own regions, the British monarch remains a uniquely global figure. As of 2025, the Commonwealth is a voluntary group of 56 countries, home to 2.6 billion people, nearly a third of the world's population. King Charles III is head of state in only 15 of these nations, but his role as head of the Commonwealth gives him a level of global reach that is unmatched among royalty. This empire of influence is a critical part of the Windsor's power. Royal visits are often used to strengthen diplomatic ties, promote British trade, and generate enormous goodwill. But this empire of influence is facing challenges. Recently, countries like Barbados have removed the monarch as their head of state, and others like Jamaica plan to hold referendums. The monarchy's connection to colonialism and the slave trade is facing fresh scrutiny. Still, the genius of the Commonwealth's design is its flexibility. When a country becomes a republic, it can, and often does, remain in the Commonwealth, still recognizing King Charles as its symbolic head. The pivot from empire to Commonwealth was the creation of an adaptable system. It revealed another key Windsor strategy. When you lose direct control, create a new network based on voluntary association and symbolic leadership. By doing this, they turned the ashes of empire into a global network that sustains their influence to this day.
Yes, it sustains their influence to this day. That is called imperialistic control, and we are crushing it right now here in America. It's going to be a little bit longer, and economically it's screwed us a lot. Fortunately, that imperialism has enemies that are actually allies of us. That's why if you watch Trump's speeches carefully, he uses his words and chooses his words very carefully. And it's opened up a lot of doors for supposed enemies that weren't enemies of America, but enemies of the imperialists. And that's why if you watch some of his speeches when he talks about these other countries, they notice the language too, and they understand what's going on. And that's why we're doing so much and allowed to, or being able to do so much. It's because these other countries realize what we're doing. The people, us, usually don't see what's going on, but I do.
In our world, power and wealth go hand in hand, and while the Windsors' political power is symbolic, their financial power is very, very real. To understand their dominance, you have to follow the money. The family sits on top of a massive and complex financial empire.
Massive and complex. Complexity means they own America financially. That's how they get their money. If you want to know why the Federal Reserve, a non-constitutional institution, has not lowered rates in the past 10 times that it's had the opportunity to when the rest of the world did lower rates, why are we higher than the rest of the world in rates? Because right now we're paying $420 billion in taxpayer money in interest that is not needed. But the Federal Reserve, who's supposed to be looking after America's economic interest, is keeping the interest rate higher than it needs to be, according to every other country in the world. So who's getting this extra $420 billion a year for free? Hold on, let's go back to the financial empire.
A portfolio of land, assets, and investments that makes them one of the wealthiest dynasties on earth. This isn't just about living in luxury. It's the engine that fuels their global influence and secures their independence.
Downfall.
Most people don't get how the monarchy is funded. The most visible part is the sovereign grant. People think it's the king's salary from the taxpayer. The reality is much more complicated and much more brilliant for the monarchy. The sovereign grant is actually a percentage of the profits from the Crown Estate, and for the 2025/26 fiscal year, it is set at a massive £132.1 million. So what is the Crown Estate? This is the first key to their wealth. The Crown Estate is a huge collection of land and property all over the UK that belongs to the monarch in right of the crown. This means the king doesn't personally own it and can't sell it. It's run like a corporation. Its holdings are mind-boggling. It includes huge parts of central London like Regent Street, massive areas of farmland, and maybe most importantly, almost the entire seabed around the UK. The Crown Estate's property portfolio is valued at over £14 billion. In the 2024/25 financial year, it generated a net profit of £1.1 billion for the UK. The monarchy essentially made the deal of a lifetime. They handed over management of this massive estate to the government back in 1760 in return for a fixed payment, which has now become a cut of its gigantic profits. But that's just the start. The real secret to their personal wealth lies in the duchies. These are two ancient landed estates that provide private income. The Duchy of Lancaster is a portfolio of land and property that provides the king with his private income, called the Privy Purse. The Duchy of Cornwall is a similar estate that provides a private income for the heir to the throne, the Prince of Wales. This is not public money. It's a private revenue stream that gives them serious financial independence. On top of all that is the family's personal wealth. This includes things they own outright, like their estates at Balmoral and Sandringham, a world-class art collection, jewellery, and a huge portfolio of private investments, the details of which are kept famously secret. When you add it all up, the numbers are staggering. In 2017, one firm estimated the capital value of the monarchy as a brand at £67.5 billion. They also figured its annual contribution.
Oh, that's hella low. They're not considering the generations of money they brought from Germany.
To the UK economy was over £1.7 billion through things like tourism and royal warrants. This financial power is the bedrock of the Windsor strategy. It allows them to operate on a scale no other royal family can. It funds their staff, the upkeep of their palaces, and the lavish ceremonies that grab the world's attention. And it gives them independence from politics. No matter who is in power, the financial foundations of the monarchy are secure.
And that guarantees that they'll always be able to buy whoever's in power.
It's this mix of public funding from ancient lands, vast private incomes, and a globally recognized brand worth billions that makes the House of Windsor a financial superpower. The survival of the House of Windsor isn't just down to good strategy and lots of money. It required careful, hands-on management executed over decades. The chief architect of this modern monarchy was Queen Elizabeth II. Her 70-year reign was a masterclass in adaptation. She presided over a family and an institution that learned to operate with the discipline of a major corporation. It's no surprise that the royal family is often called the Firm, a nickname reportedly coined by her husband, Prince Philip. The Firm perfectly captures the Windsor method. It's a businesslike, pragmatic, and unsentimental operation. The product it sells is tradition, stability, and national identity.
Thank you
The board
very
of
much.
directors is the senior royal family, and for 70 years the CEO was the Queen. The Queen's genius was her understanding that the monarchy's power was now almost entirely symbolic. So, the symbol had to be perfect. She cultivated an image of unwavering duty and deliberate mystery. She almost never gave interviews or expressed a personal opinion. In an age of oversharing, her restraint became her greatest strength. She knew that familiarity can lead to contempt, and for the monarchy to remain special, it had to remain a little bit separate. Behind the scenes, the Firm was constantly adapting, especially its relationship with the media. This involved some trial and error. The Queen's coronation in 1953 was the first to be televised, a move pushed by Prince Philip against the advice of stuffier courtiers. It was a huge success, bringing the monarchy into millions of homes. But not all media ventures worked out. In 1969, trying to seem more relatable, they allowed a documentary crew to film them for a year. The film, Royal Family, was a ratings smash, but was later seen by the Queen as a huge mistake. It broke the mystique, showing the royals having breakfast and making small talk. It was quickly locked away in the archives, never to be officially shown again. The lesson was learned. Be visible, but not too accessible. Always control the narrative. From then on, the royal media strategy became far more managed. It was a carefully controlled operation, using planned events and photo ops to project exactly the right image.
An important day is coming for every American with money in the markets.
Oh my God,
And
it's an
it'll be
important
here
day, and,
sooner than
and we're going to just guess at what it is.
They learned to use the media's endless hunger for royal stories to their advantage, feeding it a steady stream of positive content focused on charity work and military service. The Firm also had to be ruthless. When scandals hit, from the messy divorces of the 90s to the scandals around Prince Andrew, the strategy was always to contain the damage and protect the brand. The institution proved, again and again, that it would put its own survival ahead of the reputations of individual members. People who strayed too far from the script, like Princess Diana or more recently, Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, found themselves on the outside. This corporate-style management perfected by Queen Elizabeth II is the hidden machinery that keeps the dynasty running. It's a multi-generational effort to manage the brand, control the story, and adapt to the times without losing the traditions that give the monarchy its power. The Queen wasn't just a monarch. She was the long-serving, formidable chair of the world's most successful family business. The death of Queen Elizabeth II in 2022 was the end of an era. It also presented the House of Windsor with its biggest modern test. Could an institution so defined by one person for so long successfully pivot to a new leader with a totally different style? The future of the Windsor's power now rests on the shoulders of a new king and his heirs. On top of all that is the family's personal wealth. This includes things they own outright, like their estates at Balmoral and Sandringham, a world-class art collection, jewellery, and a huge portfolio of private investments, the details of which are kept famously secret. When you add it all up, the numbers are staggering. In 2017, one firm estimated the capital value of the monarchy as a brand at £67.5 billion. They also figured its annual contribution to the UK economy was over £1.7 billion through things like tourism and royal warrants. This financial power is the bedrock of the Windsor strategy. It allows them to operate on a scale no other royal family can. It funds their staff, the upkeep of their palaces, and the lavish ceremonies that grab the world's attention. And it gives them independence from politics.
So what y'all think about that? Boom! Neutronic star explosion. Yeah, that's how the imperialistic control, when you hear me talk about imperialistic control, if you're wondering what the hell, you're like, no, Neil's stupid, he's crazy, doesn't know what he's talking about. I actually do, unfortunately. And I actually see what Trump's doing. And I understand that it's not going to be the perfect system that comes out of it. And I understand how power hates a vacuum. So once you get rid of one, other snakes move in for sure. But that's when other people have to step up and help fill that void. And if we can get a whole bunch of good people making a lot of money over the next couple months, we can have a lot of good people with money all pulling together, and we can actually make a difference, at least here in America, you know. And that's one way we can make change, real change. So maybe we could do that. And that's why I always push the economic side of things and try and give out my personal research and opinions on stocks, cryptos, and precious metals, because I want you guys to be rich. I want you to be so damn rich that you can buy local congressmen in your state and force them to do the right thing. Not make you more money like the Windsors, but to do better for America and make better decisions for the local economy. You know, follow the Norwegian principle. I did a show. The reason why every Norwegian town has more wealthy people in it than any other country in the world with as many towns, because of geography. They have fjords. They don't have an interstate that's real convenient for them. So each and every individual location where there's a town or township or a city has to be basically self-contained to a point, which means the money flows in and not out. In other words, they make products and export, and money comes in, and that money stays with the local butcher, the local steel dude, the local shipbuilder, the local woods cutter, the local seamstress, and all these local businesses get more money, and therefore more wealth is kept in that area, and that makes everyone wealthy. When you take and give all that power to, say, like Washington D.C., then all the money flows to Washington D.C. out of the local areas. So if we change our thought process on how things are done, instead of giving the power to Washington and taking the power back to the local area, where you actually gain more money locally and make more local people wealthy, therefore you have a better nation. If more people thought like that, we'd be doing all right. And that's why I want everybody to become wealthy that listens to my show, because I'm sure you're good enough people to invest in your local area and make it a better place for you and your family and your friends and your neighbors and the rest of America. Total sellout. Anyhow, I hope this opened up some eyeballs. No big deal. It was fun for me. But I'm going to go out and do some shit around the house. I hope you guys have a great week coming up. Look to arbitrage. Speaking of how I give my thoughts, good advice, not financial advice. Look at the gold to silver ratio. If you have gold and you're scared of the gold to platinum ratio, it's looking pretty good. As a matter of fact, let me before I cut out, let me get, what is the gold to silver ratio today? Huh. It's about 90. It's floating between 88 and 90. That's decent. If it gets closer to 92, 3, 4, keep an eye on that. That would be a good arbitrage move to make. You guys have a great week ahead. Until next time, Arriva Vederci. Peace out.